All right, so coming in from the basement, into the basement from the back, I actually really like a lot of what I see down here already. So we're off to a pretty good start. I love these floors. I think they're great. I think the floors in the bathroom are great. I think the whole bathroom is very nice, well appointed. The paint color is not super modern, but it still looks really nice. It's clean. If you wanted to modernize it, you could paint it a lighter gray, but I don't think you'd have to. I think it looks nice and fresh and clean. Looks like it needs a new access panel just put in there, which is not a big deal. You can pick those up for like $10 at Home Depot. This fell off when I walked down the stairs, so it just looks like it needs some new hinges, nothing major. Now, I noticed that some of the trim in here is just a little bit unfinished right there, for example. Maybe it should have a blind return put on it, but that's also not a very big deal. Now, the bathroom is fine having that dark brown because it's in a bathroom and there's a lot of natural light in there, but this whole basement feels very dark and very enclosed. So I think the first thing we should consider doing is painting all the walls a more lighter, modern color. There's a color called Edgecomb Gray. It's not too gray and it's not too beige. It's a perfect medium. It's sold by Benjamin Moore. It's one of the most popular colors right now that builders are using. I'd like to put that throughout this basement. And then these stairs, I think, should have some new like commercial grade carpet put down them, or maybe some vinyl floor, but I think the commercial grade carpet would be great. You could put some hooks and stuff at the top for jackets, and then we would want to put a door at the top of the stairs that has a deadbolt on it, or we'll just frame it in and drywall and insulate it for sound and make it a permanent enclosure. Okay. Now coming in here, there's just a few little things with respect to drywall repair that we may want to address, or even you can just put those blank face plates on here to hide these holes in case the future tenant may in fact want to utilize this. Looks like they had speaker wire set up. Unless you want to discourage that kind of thing from tenants making a lot of noise, we could just push the wires in the hole and then drywall over it entirely. Same with these two. We could just get rid of them. The gas fireplace is a really nice selling feature. I'd want to make sure that it's working. And depending on how this wood color plays off of the new wall color that we put on, we may also want to paint this whole thing white, which would look really pretty. And then the last thing you can do is you tape off the glass and you tape off the wood, and then you spray paint the gold with a high heat resistant spray paint product. It's not expensive at all. It's just heat resistant. It's meant for barbecues, fireplaces, and things like that. And getting rid of the gold plating on there will make this look really modern, especially if we paint this white. It'll look really, really pretty, especially on this nice dark floor with the with the white mantle and the Edgecomb Gray on the walls. It would be absolutely spectacular. And you got a lot of speaker holes. So I am leaning towards getting rid of all of this just to discourage any tenant from thinking that it's a good idea to have a lot of speakers, which would obviously drive any other tenant upstairs crazy. We'd probably want to get rid of these desks. Most tenants have their own furniture. They're not going to want them. Then in here, I would say just for purposes of cost, we could just throw in some cheap new carpet so it's nice and clean. It doesn't smell actually. So to be honest with you, we could just vacuum it and see how it does. Maybe if we put a nicer wall color on in here, it'll be a little bit more appealing, because the red and the super dark brown is just making this look really pink. But maybe when we paint the walls, the Edgecomb Gray, this carpet will look a little bit softer and it might look nice after all, and it may not be a big deal. I also recommend changing these pot light bulbs to LED, because being halogen bulbs, they consume a lot of electricity. You can tell just by how hot they get. They consume a lot of electricity. Now, as far as where the kitchen goes, you have to consider your plumbing and a lot of things like that. Now, unfortunately, all of your plumbing is all over here, okay? Your hot water tank, your hot supply, your cold supply, your drainage. The most ideal location for your kitchen, in my opinion, would be right along here. The problem, though, is it's impossible to get it from there to there. Now, you could put it in the bedroom, but then you don't have a second bedroom anymore. So I think the best solution for the kitchen would be to finish this little wall off. Let's just close in this little section right here. We'll get rid of that altogether. And then we'll start the kitchen here. It'll be a nice little L-shaped kitchen. It would be a kitchenette. In a basement apartment, you don't require a full-size kitchen. You just need what you would call a kitchenette, okay? And so we can have that even extend a little bit past this because this is really wide. It's probably about 48 inches. You can get away with a nice 36-inch walkway. So that gives us a couple more feet that we can fit more cabinet space on. And we could even have a little peninsula that comes out a little bit too, if you wanted. You don't have to. Again, these are just ideas that we're throwing around here. We could also make the kitchen a little bigger if we closed in this door and just drywalled it in, and then we moved the door to access the furnace room, you know, coming off of the bedroom or something. But then you have to walk through the bedroom to get into the laundry room, so you may not want to do that. It depends on what, after we talk about this, is the most important thing. Is it having access from the laundry room or to the laundry room through the bedroom? Or is it having the bigger kitchen? You know, because having the bigger kitchen, if you didn't have that door there, if you could come all the way along here to here, that would be an excellent size. And you could, like I said, still come out a little bit beyond there. But then you have to have a door in the bedroom. The cool thing is this is not a load-bearing wall. You can tell that because there's teleposts. Teleposts hold up beams. So because there's a beam there, that means that there's no support or load on this wall. So we can easily cut it out and there would be absolutely no effect. So we could literally just take this washing machine, move it over there. Sorry, this dryer, that's a dryer, and we could move it over there, which is good because dryers are easier to move around because they have no plumbing. And we could put the doorway here to access this furnace room and then drywall this off altogether. And then you come down and you have this nice big L-shaped kitchen that runs along here. And even keep this open, you know, that open concept is kind of nice because the counter could be this beautiful like bar top area that comes around, and this can overhang a little bit. So you could put a couple of bar stools right here, which would be a really cool effect, and tenants will love that. So we could have a fridge and a stove and then an L shape and then a sink here and then a little bit more just counter space to work on, and it could wrap around the side. And the countertop's going to come up to about here, but then you're going to have this slightly elevated second tier where you're going to have your bar height for your bar stools, because bar stools are higher than countertop height. So that would be my recommendation, because we put the kitchen here, we can get all the plumbing from right here. Look at it. You got your washer and dryer, your hot, your cold supply. All your drains are right there. And the electrical panel is probably not far away either. But it doesn't really matter where the panel is. We can make that work. We can get the electrical. We can fish wires through the joists. We can do whatever we got to do. But this is a big part of it. I think we got to add some lights. You know, maybe we'll have to do wall mounted lights or something like that because the ceiling is pretty low, or we can just add a few more pot lights over this kitchen because it is really dark. Also, this whole section of the basement too is really dark. I think we got to add just a singular light in the middle. So that brings up another important question. You could easily do this conversion inexpensively, and we could make this work for not too much money by simply throwing the kitchen in, painting it, closing the door off upstairs, and putting it on the internet. We'll get it done in no time. We could probably rent this space out for probably $1,300 a month, maybe even $1,400 a month, because it is 2 bedrooms. It's spacious, the fireplace, the cool kitchen with the bar. And none of this, by the way, is very expensive. This is all pretty easy because the most expensive meat and potatoes of what you have is already here. Oh yeah, your panel looks like it's behind there, so that should be no problem. Now, the trick though is if you wanted to do it legally, that's the trick, because these pot lights will not be allowed. Before you even start the process, you'd want to remove the pot lights, replace them with normal lights. Don't even let the inspector on your property until the pot lights are gone. Because if the pot lights are here, there will be holes in the ceiling and they'll make you redo the whole thing. But if the existing ceiling is good enough, you can get away with it. Another challenge you have is this height. You need to have 6'5" underneath of the lowest point. which means we're going to have to modify all of these bulkheads to somehow come up another 1.5 inches or so. It's doable. A lot of times people put too much strapping, and we've been able to make the bulkhead shorter because the air duct probably only comes to here. So there's all this extra wasted space because that extra inch could be the difference between getting approved and not getting approved. And that's also something you would want to have done before the inspector comes. So you don't even start the permit process until you've removed the pot lights, replaced them, got rid of the extra holes like the access panel, raised the ceiling height. You want to have all that stuff done. Then you're going to have to add an egress window. The most ideal location would probably be here so that it's going to add all kinds of extra natural light into your living room. But you would have to do that. Now, you don't have to do that before the inspector comes. You could get that started already or you could start that after the process has commenced. The important thing is that the drywall is properly done so that the inspector doesn't make you rip the whole ceiling down and redo it, which would suck big time, right? Now, let's take a quick peek at this panel just to make sure that it's got the right amount of room on there. And yes, it does. So you got a lot of room on there. Okay, so you could easily run wiring for a new kitchen and some more lights and that kind of thing. Okay, so like I said, replace all the pot lights with some regular lights. It wouldn't be hard at all, just a little bit of drywall repair, some fresh paint on the ceilings here and there. Fill this in, L-shaped kitchen, bar top, paint. I think we should replace the blinds with ones that properly fit, like that one, and that one just doesn't stay up anymore. So that's a summary of everything. Now we'll take all this information and we'll put it into a point form if you'd like. But I also think these little countertop things, they gotta go. That's gotta go. The people that we're gonna be renting to, I don't think are gonna see a lot of value in that. Same with this, like just get rid of this thing altogether. It's not very nicely finished. Just get rid of it. Get rid of that. You know, all these wires, we can talk about what we're gonna do with that. But yeah, maybe we could just put some wardrobes, maybe put a wardrobe in here for the clothing. We'll put a wardrobe in the other room because it looks like neither of them have a closet. So the basement is dry. It smells good. That means there's no moisture issues that I can see or think, or that I would know. I've looked around. I didn't see any water staining on any of the trim. And you would smell it anyway, and I don't. So that tells me that this would be an ideal setup, ready to go for a basement suite. Now, as far as where the laundry would go upstairs, let's take a quick peek and see what's going on up there. And so this is what I was talking about, right? You could easily put a series of coat hooks along here, and you know, they could put their shoes down there, but you can even leave their shoes and stuff here. It'd be perfect setup for somebody if you block that off. So what I just said about this storage area, scratch that. This is, you should have the wall maybe right here, okay? Just about there. And you can put the hooks on the new wall. And then on the other side of the wall will be a stackable washer and dryer. And then we can easily get the plumbing to go right through the floor. And we can just expand this bulkhead. See how this bulkhead is here already? We'll just take that bulkhead, bring it out this way another few inches. So we'll just make this bulkhead come out to about here. And inside of this cavity that's going to run along here, we can run our new pipes, like our drains and our hot and cold supplies, and have them come out into here and make its way over to the drains and the supply lines. That's how we're going to get the plumbing over there. The electrical will be pretty easy. Again, we can fish wires and get it done. So that's it for now.